Hmm. Hmm. I feel like it's messed up. Hmm. There you go. Test, 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 test. I might have to restart this. It looks like I am massively lagging. Um, no, I'm not lagging. Let's see if I can. I might go iron this. This is really wrinkly. Have to go around my camera to iron it. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Let me move this back to how it was. Okay. So I linked the pattern in my YouTube description. I have it cut out. And all I'm going to do is I'm putting my two pieces together. It doesn't matter because this has no print. So it doesn't matter what side I'm on. Would be cool to have a way. I should probably use a different fabric for one side so that people realize it's the inside and outside, but I'm not making these for medical personnel, so I think it should be easy with close inspection to realize what side is which, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to sew a 1/2 inch seam allowance around the whole thing. Okay, so now that I have my seam all the way around the outside, I'm going to trim it. So I'm trimming it in half. I'm trimming it from 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch. I don't know who's in the chat, but say hi. I think it's my husband, but I feel like I should bring the camera out so you can see me, but then you can't see what I'm sewing, so. So 1/4 inch. And I like using a 1/2 inch seam allowance because it's allowing me to trim it and have it all be the same after. Like my friend cut out a bunch of these for me and her daughter also helped me. So they're not perfect, but if I can make a 1/2 inch seam allowance and then trim it to 1/4 of an inch, now it's pretty much all uniform. I need to turn off the autofocus on that. It's kind of doing weird things. Okay. So now that I have that done, I am going to make a pleat, or a pleat, not a pleat. I'm sorry. I just heard myself too loud on my microphone. I'm going to make a dart. So the pattern that I linked in the description has the dart drawn onto the pattern. And when I first started out, I was using that, and now I'm not really anymore, but I'm going to draw it with this Taylor's chalk just to give you an idea. But lately I just don't even, so I'm doing one dart at the top like that. I just folded it in half to get my dart and then just kind of eyeball it now, but it is on the pattern that I linked. And now I'm going to do 2 darts that are smaller than that at the bottom. And this is the part of the pattern that I changed slightly. So let's see if I can move this a little bit so you can see more what. Okay, so I'm just folding it in half to get my center. Then I'm going to mark that just to show it. And I'm going to fold it. Not do this the wrong way. Okay, I'm going to fold it under like this. This is my center, and I'm folding it under like this, and I'm going to take another dart right here, smaller than my other one, because the original pattern, and I'm going to do the same thing for the other side, I am folding it and then making the line for the dart. This too, I kind of got to the point where I'm just not drawing it, I'm just going for it. But so I'm not even drawing a full dart, I'm just drawing like the end of this. There you go. The end of this is where I would fold it over. So I'm going to fold it on this seam, and then I'm just going to sew it. So like that, you can kind of see it's just a little dart. It's about a half an inch. This part of the mask is just made to help it fit better. I put 2 darts at the chin because I found the one dart at the chin didn't fit as well, and I noticed in the comments on Instructables that she said she was going to change it to have 2 darts at the bottom. I don't think she ever did, but so after that I just cut the dart off. Cut the excess of the dart that was in your seam allowance. You could probably leave it. It's not a big deal. It is cotton fabric. It's not going to bother. I saw somebody was wondering if the darts would irritate the skin. No, not any more than wearing any other clothes would. It's 100% cotton fabric, and it's really soft on the skin. And I've made a bunch of them for my church, and everybody loves them. So now I'm going to sew my nose dart. To see if I can turn off that autofocus. I can see it doing that. Okay, it's better now. Okay, so I'm going to cut off the excess of this dart. And now the top with your one dart is your nose dart. So now I'm going to do the pleats, which is like every pattern has pleats, so you can do them. Well, not every pattern. I think I'm going to try a more fitted mask after this one just to see. I really like how this one fits, but I don't want to be like, well, the way I'm doing it is the best, so I kind of want to try and give it to my friend that I'm making some for and see what they like the best. So I am pinning this. I'm making my darts. You want your darts to go down. Oh, my OBS is, this little video's in the way. Let me move it. Okay, so I am making the darts go down. The pleats go down, because that way it won't catch anything in the little pocket that it's making. So I'm just folding under. The pattern does give directions on this. I'm folding under about a half an inch. I've just kind of started doing what what I think is good. Like I'm not measuring it anymore. I'm just trying to make them fast, and I'm very much a just go with it kind of sewer. With any kind of sewing except for maybe like heirloom sewing, I'm very picky, and maybe like dress sewing. Okay, so I have my pleats. I have 3 pleats. They're all, my first one's about a half an inch. The other ones are slightly smaller. I actually made them a little more gathered. I mean, my width on the side ends on the side of your face is a little smaller than what the pattern calls for, because I tried to make it fit my fit kids and adults, and it seems to be working pretty good. I haven't had anyone tell me it doesn't fit yet, so, and I've given them to kids and adults. Okay, so like this. Now I'm going to trim my seam allowance. As far as trimming the seam allowance, I'm not quite sure which way is better, to trim it or not to trim it on that, because I'm adding bias to this after. So it's going to cover that, but sometimes I like the way an untrimmed seam allowance fills in that little seam. It looks really good. I think I'm going to try to go back a little bit so you, let's see. To turn it up a little bit. Okay. You still can't see me? I'm going to fix that. I might end up restarting this so I can fix that autofocus on the camera. It's really aggravating. I haven't used it set up this way before, so pardon the interruption. Let's see if that'll be good. It's better. You can see more of me but less of sewing, so I don't know which is better. Okay, so like this again on the side, and I'm going to sew on the opposite way. I'm always sewing down the pleats. You don't want to sew up the pleats, because like where the nose dart is, I'm sewing with that to the top. I think you can kind of see, because if you sew the other way, you're just making it more difficult for yourself. So okay. So I trimmed off my seam allowance again, and ta-da! Sorry, that just made a noise. So that's the biggest part of the mask. The next part is the bias, which I'm trying to not buy anything to make these masks. So I made strips of bias. These are 45 inches wide, and they're about 1.5 inches. This one's actually probably closer to 2 inches. They're kind of irregular because, like I said, I had help cutting them out, which I'm very appreciative of. And it doesn't matter, is what I'm saying. I'm very much not picky. I can make it work. I made it work with tiny bias that somebody gave to me. I made it work with like 1/2 inch bias. This is probably 1/4 inch bias. I just say kind of go with whatever you got. So, okay, so you want to take your right side of your bias in the middle. I kind of clipped it to mark it. You want to go right side of your bias to wrong side of your mask, which the wrong side will be the part with the pleat where you cut off. And after I do this, I really want to use these little rainbow clips I got in. So I'm going to try this, see if I can do it with this. I got these rainbow clips from Lauren at More Me Know. They're anodized. They're real fun. I'm making these for a friend that requested them from me, and I need to cut out some more manly colors. So the way I'm going to sew this is I'm sewing the bias to the mask. And I'm going to just stitch it on there. Oh, these clips are so pretty. I don't know if you can see them. Oh, they're so pretty. So I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch seam here. You could sew a 1/2 inch if you want to sew everything a 1/2 inch. I did that as well. I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch. I'm just sewing the bias to the mask. Ooh, my cutter on my machine is not happy, and I know I'm not going to be able to get that fixed right now probably, but it probably has a knife in there and it probably needs to be replaced. I sew on this machine a lot. This is like my costume sewing machine. Okay, so this is the part that I do that's kind of like, this doesn't make sense, but it works so fast. So I'm going to fold over this bias one time like that, and then I'm going to fold it over again, and I'm going to just like pull it over my seam to create the finished seam. This one is a little thick, but that's okay. So yeah, I'm just folding it over. I don't know if I can show here on my little camera too. Folding it over and then folding it again. So it looks like this to start, because I sewed it right sides together. So when I sewed it right sides together, I flip it out like you would a normal seam, and then you have this. And then you fold it in half and fold it over again, and then you're encasing your seam. Oh shoot, I forgot an important step. I need to make a little bias that goes on the side part that goes right here. So all I do for that is I take one of my strips. Actually, no, I'm going to do it this way. I was going to say I'm going to use that white bias, but I'm not going to, because just for sake of showing how I really do it. So all you want to do for that, and I'm going to have to unpick that seam, rip it out, is you want to take a little piece that's the length of this side part of your bias right here. So I'm just going to cut 2 little strips. And this is how the pattern that I linked does this. The part that they do differently is the bias and the pleats. So I'm gonna measure on my table right here real quick how big is this strip, so I can say it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's about 5. This is about 5 inches for my sides. And I'm going to take this little strip now. It's going to be my strip that I'm going to use for the sides. So I had a seam ripper. I'm horrible. A lot of times I need a seam ripper. I don't even use it. I just cut it with my scissors and start ripping it. Okay. So you don't need, you should sew this on before you sew your long bias, because now I had to rip out that little section and I'll have to stitch it back on again. So now I'm going to do the same thing with this. I'm going to sew it right side to the wrong side of the mask. So just look at your pleats. I mean your darts. Your darts are what tells you. Just look at your darts and you can see that unfinished edge. So yeah, that's the inside of the mask. So I'm going to sew this right here. My machine is not being happy. I'm going to turn it off and turn it back on. Hope it fixes it. I wish I could sew this on my industrial machine that's sitting right over there, but my industrial machine is not meant for sewing anything like this. It's meant for sewing leather and vinyl and quilting cotton. It will sew if it's interfaced. Like it would probably sew okay on a lot of this, but the parts with just 2 layers, it wouldn't be too happy about it. It would probably try to eat it. So, or you can just never get the tension right on it, and it's sewing with a really thick thread and a really big needle. So, again on this, I sewed right side of the bias to the wrong side of the mask. Now I'm going to take it and flip it in half and flip it over again, and now I have encased my seam. I also feel like the way that this pattern has you sew the bias on, some of them are the same, but a lot of them just have you sew bias across the top and or across the sides, and then I just think the way this is sewn, it provides a lot of durability because I'm catching this side seam in the top and the bottom, and I don't know, I just feel like it's really sturdy. So now I just went back over my bias on the top that I unpicked, and I went back over. I'm pulling my little white threads out. I'm using white thread because I'm making a bunch of them and I'm not changing my thread. Most of my stuff is like colorful prints, so I'm just going with white. Okay, so I flipped it up. This is how I sewed it. I flipped it up, and now I'm going to flip it back over, fold in half, and then fold it again. And when I sew that, I'm sewing on the right side of the mask when I'm sewing, because I want to sew on top of my first seam that I sewed when I sewed around a 1/2 inch all the way around. Yeah, I feel like this particular bias strip is kind of thick, but that's okay. It'll still work. Especially when I get to actually sewing the tie part. Okay, so now that I am, this is the part that you might want to see a little closer. Go down right here. Okay. Maybe even closer than that. Let's see. I can go down with this. Okay. So when I get to the end right here, I am just going to continue my strap. This is going to be my strap to tie it. So I'm going to continue my strap because I don't like starting the strip from the end because it's just harder. So I'm going to continue on this side. I started on, the edge of my mask. I'm going to continue on this side. And I'm just going to fold it as I go. I'm continuing the fold that I made when I made that seam of my bias to my mask. So continuing to go. I'm just sewing on the edge of, I feel like, let me see. Is that, I don't know why you can't really see on this camera. Let me see if I can fix it real quick. Yep, I can move it down just a little bit. There you go. Down another one. That's probably good. Let's see. I'll try that. Okay. Okay. So I'm just gonna fold it. I'm just sewing on the edge of the bias that I'm making. The edge with the two folds, not the edge with the one fold that doesn't need to be sewn together. I'm sewing on the edge where I'm folding it together. This edge right here, not this edge. Okay. And I just realized I didn't sew the other edge of my bias on. No. It's okay. I'll unpick it. If ye shall sew, ye shall rip, as they say. Okay, so I'm going to rip off this little piece right here. And if you're watching, you can comment and talk to me. I can see your comments, but I can see people are watching, but I don't see anybody talking. I would have just gone live on Facebook, but I don't like that I can't moderate the comments, and I don't know if a moderator would be watching or not, so it bothers me. I'm sensitive, so. Okay, so almost done unpicking this. And also my husband kind of helped me with this setup, and I'm going to be trying to go live and sew bags on my industrial, so, and I'm going to be doing that on YouTube. And I'm also going to be going live with stuff for my church in the meantime while this craziness is going on. Because we can't meet in person, we can try to meet online, which is amazing that we can. Okay, so I unpicked this. I have a little edge right there. Okay, so right side of this little bias strip, because yeah, you would want to sew these two bias strips on before the big one every time. And I forget sometimes. Most of the time I remember though, so. So, same thing, I'm going to flip it up, fold it over, fold it over again, and I'm just encasing those 2 layers of fabric that I sewed the first time. You want to just fold it and kind of pull it over so that you're covering your original seam. Okay, and then I didn't show the last time, and then right here I just whack that off. Okay, now I can re-sew my bias strip at the top. I just kind of tucked it in there, and I'm going to sew that little piece. Okay, so what you have here now is one strip side is finished and one strip side is not. The reason I start it right here instead of starting at the edge of the strip is it's just easier. I struggled through it the first few times trying to sew it at the end, and it's just not very easy to do it that way. So now I'm just going to flip my mask over, and I'm sewing it now with the inside of the mask facing up because I'm going the opposite way. So I'm going to get back to the end where I started, the first long bias strip, and I'm going to back stitch right here, because again this is the part that needs to be kind of like reinforced, how I feel. So now I'm just doing the same thing, folding over, and after this I'm probably going to finish this mask, and then I will sew another one. I'm going to probably cut it out on the camera because why not? I'm hoping somebody will come in here and chat with me. Okay, here we go. Usually my bias is skinnier than this, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. Just go with it. I know some people can't just go with it, but I definitely can do that for certain things. For certain things, yeah, I would be bothered by it, but certain things, it doesn't matter to me. So, okay. So now I have one mask, one top done. So I'm going to take another strip. I just got a notification. I'm checking that. Okay. So now I'm going to take another strip. I have a pile of strips right here off camera where I have just a bunch of these purple strips. The purple kind of went with everything. And now I'm realizing it might not be the most gender neutral color, but I don't know. I think everybody loves purple. It's beautiful. At least it's not pink, but I think everybody loves pink too. They just might not want to admit it. So I just snipped in the middle to get my center. I'm sewing right side of bias to wrong side of mask. Okay, so then I'm flipping it up again. Oh, you can kind of see that. And then folding it over, and then folding it over again. And you'll kind of get the hang of it once you do it. It's just so much faster than making the bias. I even have a bias foot attachment for my serger, and like it's pretty neat. It can serge the bias onto the mask while it makes the bias, but well, I say serge, it's actually cover stitching. I have a Baby Lock serger cover stitch in one machine, and it use the cover stitch for the bias maker, but it's not faster than this, especially considering I don't have my serger set up permanently in my sewing room, so I'd have to switch over. It's just not faster. So I'm just folding it over. You're folding it over basically. You're taking each side and bringing it to the middle. And then folding it over again once it's in the middle. It's just like single fold bias. Double fold bias is not like that. It's folded twice and then folded over in the middle. But okay. So now it looks like, oh, you're done. No, you're not done. Sorry, I'm not used to this camera yet, and I keep changing how it is. So I still have one tail done because I started right here. So now I gotta do this last tail. So I'm gonna flip the mask to the inside. And it would be smart to cut your little snips as you go, your little thread, but a lot of times I don't. Okay, so I'm gonna back stitch. I'm in that corner of the mask again. This is really similar to like making a small hem and not pinning it, like and hemming it as you go. I know a lot of people probably do pin it, but my mom always could like do this, and I was always like amazed. And I don't know, I feel like I kind of figured it out of desperation because I was like, ironing bias is not fun. So even with a bias jig or whatever they're calling them, it's still not fun. I don't like to iron. I would do anything to not iron. Okay, so now I'm just gonna snip, snip, snip. All my little threads. Okay. Always want to turn it the wrong way. Okay. So like this. You see I have the nose and the bottom part is the chin, and I have my two straps. And I need to trim the thread ends on the bottom. These do not have a pocket. I made one with a pocket and I didn't like it. I don't think most people that I know that I'm handing them out to are going to put a filter in it. If I have people that request a filter, I'll probably use the filter from I'll use the the pattern from Scientific Seamstress from Carla, um, because I looked at the way her pocket was put in and it was pretty good. The thing I don't want to do, I don't want to deal with, is putting wire in or using elastic, so that's why I like this pattern. But I feel like Carla's shape on her Scientific Seamstress free mask pattern, I could probably link it. I'll ask her if I could link it at the bottom of the video. I don't think anybody's really seeing this anyway, but I think she'll be okay with it. My shape of my mask is very similar to Carla's, so I feel like the way her pocket is made might be better than the way I tried to make a pocket. So this one's done. I will now pick out some different fabric. I'm supposed to make like 3 of them for a man, and I have really girly fabrics. I'm gonna see if I can zoom out and kind of show. I have a tripod here that I'm messing with. This does not want to let me turn. How do I turn? There we go. Oh, I can show my fabric. How exciting. Okay, let's see what I have. I'm not super organized, so please don't judge me. Can I go further away? I don't think so. But it gives you an idea of my big mess of fabric. I can open this one too. I don't see anything that jumps out at me as like, I don't know, manly is what she told me. Her husband is he is in wildlife and fisheries, so immediately that's what somebody else said. Oh, like a hunting fabric, and I'm like, yeah, I don't have hunting fabric. I have solid fabric, but not a lot. I have a lot of purple apparently. I have a lot of Disney. Can you see that? Yeah, you kind of sort of. Go see this one. I don't know. I should probably just do solid colors. But I need to make new ties for whatever I do. All my ties are purple. I don't know why I only cut out purple ties. but I did. I have this LSU, not LSU, Saints gingham that's kind of manly, I guess. I don't know. It's like one of my prized possession fabrics though, because it's fabric finders, and I love fabric finders, but it's pretty. I'm gonna step over to this side, which I can't really put my camera here. Hopefully you can still hear me. Saints, LSU. They would probably like LSU or Saints, but I'm just worried they won't. Okay, I have solid green right here. What about that? All of my fabric is pre-washed. If you're going to use cotton fabric, you should shrink it because it's going to shrink. So, denim. Denim would be kind of cool. I don't have a lot of denim though. Who would have thunk that you don't have enough fabric to make ties? You need a good bit of fabric to make the ties. So in trying to use what I have, I'm going to come back to this because I have this blue, which I have a lot of. I have green, which I don't have a lot of. I have a lot of that Saints gingham. I should probably use that, but I don't want to. Let's see, what else do I have? I feel like I'm like Madame de la Grande Bouche. I'm like, let's see what I have in my drawers. Okay, I have a lot of children's prints. I can't go further back with the camera. I apologize because my sewing room is very narrow. Mardi Gras. Solid white. Fishies. Oh, here's a solid white. Would be great for ties, and it'll actually make really good ties because this is some really good fabric. I'm okay with sacrificing it because it's a good fabric that will work with just about every color, and it's really wide. So let me see. I just saw something catch my eye out of the corner of my eye. Ooh, Star Wars fabric. Huh. I don't know. I don't know. I might actually use this Saints fabric for this one. I don't know that this is a manly print. I can definitely make one out of that. I feel like I'm going to go with, I have a lot of green. I'm going to go with green and white, I think. I'm going to use this quilting cotton. Okay, so I'm going to go back around. I'm going to cut it out. I'm going to change my camera view. Move my machine. I usually don't cut out in my sewing room because my sewing room is tiny and I don't have room for table to cut out. I just made a big mess over there in fabric. So it goes. Okay, I'm going to turn this around. You can see my pretty pink room. Okay. Okay, I'm going to get my pattern. Show how I cut it out. Be right back. Okay, got my pattern. I'm gonna try. Okay, so I made a pattern template. It's actually just a piece of cardstock. So this is the shape of the pattern. I'm going to cut it on the fold, like the directions say. The only difference I made was I changed the pleats. So you need to cut 2 out. And again, my fabric is pre-washed. So since taking up making bags, I have learned to use ink pens as marking pens, which is like, I feel like it's a big no-no in sewing clothes. A lot of fabric marking pens won't mark on like leather or vinyl. So, and then you'll find too that some pens won't write. Like I'm just having that issue right now, it won't write. So here we go. See if this one will write. Yes, we have a winner. Some pens will write on fabric and some won't. I really need to get some Frixion pens. I don't know if it's Frixion or Frixion, but yeah. So I'm just holding the template down and tracing around it. I basically just made, something hard. I didn't trace at the top. I just made something hard like this because it's easier to trace. So I have a really good pen that gives me like no trouble. So this one's giving me trouble. I don't know if it make this better if I turn this light on. Nope, makes it worse. Lighting is really weird with videos. Okay, so cut this out. And the ink pen is all going to be cut off when I cut my seam allowance off in the initial seam. So that's pretty good. Okay, so I have one cut out. You need 2 of these to make 1 mask. They do have marks for your pleats on the original pattern. I didn't know what it was for when I made my template, so I I thought it was like to help line up the pattern like these little dart marks normally are. Um, so I didn't really care like where I put them at. If you want to follow the pattern and make the pleats exactly where these little dart looking symbols are, the little triangles, go for it. See, I have a really good pin that I was using for this. I don't know where it's at. But like, I like go through marking pins like crazy. Like I said, making bags, I don't know, you need to mark a lot of stuff. It's very precise. So the good thing with a pattern, fabric that has a little bit of a pattern to it is, I'll show you in a second. It's got, even though this looks like a solid fabric, it's not. It's printed because the front looks like this. I always go the opposite way that I need to go. And the back looks like this. So this is it's called like a blender fabric. Quilters use it. I use it for applique, because it's got like multiple shades of green in it. So it'll be good because I'll sew them like this. So this will be the inside of your mask, and this will be the outside. So it's real easy to tell. Like that last one I did was just Kona cotton, and you can't tell the inside from the outside. It's exactly the same. So, and it doesn't really matter. If you have time to look at it, you can see the darts. You can tell what it is. But if you don't have time and you're in a hurry, like I'm hearing nurses want to know like which is the inside and the outside. So all my other ones have been made like this, where there is right side of fabric to wrong. I'm saying that wrong. Wrong side of fabric to right side. Opposite of right sides together. Like it feels so wrong to do this, but it shows you a very clear inside and outside. If you're coming watch and you just came in, say hi. I don't know who you are. I'd like to chat, but like I said, I'm on YouTube for a reason. But okay, I'm going to make the ties. I think I'm just gonna go with the white ties. I guess I'm using my precious fabric finders. It's going to tear perfectly. Expensive, nice fabric, which this fabric is expensive, nice fabric, tears on grain perfectly every time. It's beautiful. Cheap fabric does not tear on grain. That's why my it tears on grain, but the grain is not as precise as nice fabric like this. Fabric finders. I love fabric finders. It's probably my favorite it's probably my favorite fabric ever. It's so nice. Okay, so this is 60 inches wide too. So I was using 45-inch wide strips. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my tie about 1.5 inches, and I'm just eyeballing it. And I know that my other edge is already straight because I rip all of my fabric finders for anything that I'm doing usually. And look at that, it's not straight. So that means I didn't rip that when I cut it. So, or I probably bought it like that actually. But usually, so all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish. When it doesn't tear straight, when it doesn't tear straight, it like runs off the side of the fabric. It's kind of annoying, and that's what happened with my purple fabric. So I'm going to cut it to get a straight edge, and I'm going to just be generous and do like that. And I'm just ripping it. When you buy fabric at an heirloom place, they don't ever cut it, they just rip it. It's cool. Okay, so hopefully I'm just going to cut about 1.5 inches. I'm just eyeballing it. Okay. So again, it's going to be 60 inches wide, which is wider than what I was using before. But I'm okay with that. They can always cut off the end if they want to. I'll probably cut my little 5-inch strip from it, and in order to kind of keep continuity once I start, like I did this, I'm just going to line up that last one I did and snip it right on the edge. Okay, so now I have my 2 ties and I'm ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut my side pieces. I'm going to cut one off of each one. Then I'm going to have the same, and like I said, I'm eyeballing this again. Then I'm going to have the same amount taken off of each strap, and it'll be like just perfect. Before I wasn't cutting my side bias off of my main 45-inch piece. I was using a whole new piece because I didn't want them to be too short. 45 inches is just right. I have a big head and it seems to be just right. This one I'm making is actually for a man, and he's kind of a big guy. So I'm curious to see what they're going to say when they get it, and that's why I was thinking of making more than one to give to him. But okay, see, these are actually the same size as the side of the pattern, but I did that on purpose because I like to just have it big and then just cut it off. So where did I just put my ties? I lost my ties. Here they are. Are these there? Yeah. Okay. If you want to, you can iron this, and I'm not going to iron it. I'm going to wash this when I'm done, so yeah, I'm going to wash it before I give it to them. And I did pre-wash my fabric. So I'm going to grab my sewing machine and put it back here and reset my camera. Oops, sorry. My machine unthreaded while I moved my sewing machine. I'm going to readjust my camera so you can see me. Kind of wish I could find that happy medium. I haven't found it yet of you being able to see me and you being able to see the machine. You can see under the machine really great when I don't have the light on. When I put the light on for the machine, it's like you'll see it happen. It gets really bright. Yeah, it's like, whoa. When I sew in my industrial, it's not a problem because it it's not a problem because it doesn't have a light. So Okay. Still can't see me. I like to see people when they sew, so if y'all have an opinion on that, y'all tell me in the chat. Okay. Okay. Should be able to see me a little bit. If I go a little bit back. Sorry, there's no good way to do that, and you're probably hearing my fan a little bit. If the fan's loud, y'all please tell me. Okay, I feel like this is good. So, I have to bend down. Hi. Okay. You can see me on this camera in the back though. Okay. I need to rethread my machine. So I have a Bernina 560 in case anyone's wondering. I love my Bernina, but the issue I'm having right now is sometimes it's not wanting to cut my threads. It has an automatic thread cutter, and it needs to be serviced. This is still weird. I want it to be higher up. Then it's hard to see. I feel like to have a good sewing stream you need like 5 cameras, but that's not happening. Okay. Alright, so I am going to sew around my whole piece. This top point on this pattern is the nose, and the bottom is the chin part. So I'm going to sew a 1/2 inch seam all the way around. If y'all have other patterns that y'all really like, let me know. Like I'm saying, I do want to try the way Carla does her pocket. But I'm not a fan of the ones with the metal wire. For one, I don't have any metal wire. For two, I'm worried it'll come out when you wash it. I don't know. If y'all know something about that, y'all let me know. I can read the comments if you comment. Just saying. But my husband probably has like electrical gauge wire. I don't have pipe cleaners. I always end up like giving them to church or teachers or stuff when I have pipe cleaners left over from something. Okay. Oh, there's my good ink pen. Right after I traced my pattern, I found my good ink pen. Okay. So this is the top. I'm looking over there. That's my computer. This is the top where the nose is, and see I did all the way around, and then I'm gonna trim it. That's the part I'm forgetting. I'm gonna trim off the seam allowance. I'm gonna make it to like a 1/2 inch, a 1/4 inch. I took 1/2 inch seam allowances. Now I'm trimming it to a 1/4 inch. Or you can trim it like a little less to like a scant if you want. It doesn't matter. I just like to do this step, like I said earlier, because it's making your pieces exactly the same now. If you were a little off when you did the pattern, when you traced it, and when you cut it, it doesn't matter now. Because it's all going to be the same after I'm cutting them together after they're sewed in place. Okay, so now I have this trimmed around. and I'm going to do my pleats first. I do the pleats, I'm sorry, the darts first. I do the darts first, and then I do my pleats. So I'm going to do, this is the nose. I'm going to do a pleat right here for the nose. So I'm going to fold this right sides together. And this pleat is in the pattern. I've just done a few of them now, so I don't draw it just like the pattern. I'm doing it just like the pattern, this part. I actually changed the bottom pleat, but so I just drew with my tailor's chalk just to show you guys. Okay, and after I make the seam, it's hard to see because it's white. After I make the seam, I'm going to cut it off. Cut it off. Cut off the excess. I'm cutting off the excess of the dart. Okay, so I'm going to fold it again at the bottom where the chin is, just to get my center this time. And I'm drawing with my tailor's chalk the center, and then I'm going to fold it like this. This is how I'm getting. So I'm folding it over about a ½ inch. I have a ruler right on the front of my machine. I keep forgetting I have. Folding it over about a ½ inch, and then I'm going to draw a little dart. I'm just drawing half of the dart because the other half that's missing, I'm going to fold it on that line right here. So I don't need to draw it. You could if you want to. This is the part I changed from the pattern. The pattern's fine. It didn't fit perfectly, and she made a comment, and she made a comment in the comments on her pattern saying that she would go back and change it. She would put 2 little darts at the bottom. So that's all I've done, is I've done what she kind of figured out was a little bit better. So she's a nurse, so I'm sure she's very busy right now. And the reason, oh, I just sewed my dart the wrong side, so I'm going to rip it out. But the reason I'm using this pattern as well is hospitals in New Orleans are actually taking these masks. So I figured if a nurse said they were good, and I know a lot of the patterns have different nurses saying like, this is the one, this is the way. But this one was local to me, and I think the nurse actually might be from Louisiana. I'm in Louisiana, so because the person that I saw share it tagged the original creator in the post. So I think she might be local. Okay, so I'm just stitching this again because I stitched it backwards. You want to fold your fabric right sides together when you make a dart, or your dart's going to be facing the wrong way, and then your nose dart will be the right way and your chin darts will be the wrong way, and that would not be good. Okay, so I will probably go live soon making a bag. If any of y'all are interested in that, you can subscribe to my channel and you'll see it in your notifications if you put the bell on, or if you don't put the bell on, when you click on subscriptions you can see when I post a video. Okay, so yeah, now my darts are done. I'll probably do that at like 2 in the morning because that's my like prime time sewing. So my darts are done. You could trim this off if you want to. I usually do, but like I made these kind of small, so I feel like I don't have to trim them off. I mean, it's up to you. It's personal preference. It's quilter's cotton. No matter what you do, it's not going to be uncomfortable. It's cotton thread I'm using. Polyester thread too. Nothing's going to be itchy in the seam. Itchy in the seam would be like because of the fabric you're using generally. So I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to cut off the seam allowance in the darts. I cut it off for the nose, so might as well. Okay. Now I'm going to be doing pleats. So pleats, you want to go down. This is the nose. You want to go down with your pleat if at all possible. I don't think it really matters if it's the other way or if somebody wears it the wrong way, but you know. So this is the outside of the mask. This is the inside. You see, you can easily tell. And I made them like this when I made them to give away a bunch of them because I think it's easy for people to glance at it and just see. So now I'm making my pleats. I folded it over like that and I pinned it. I know a lot of people are ironing. Good for you. I'm glad you like to iron. I don't. So I'm just pinning it. I know a lot of people want to be really precise too. I'm sorry. It's not me. I'm going to actually let my pleat out a little bit because this one will probably be for my friend's husband. Like I said, he's a big guy. And I'd say I let out my pleats. I probably let out my pleats like a half an inch in total, so it's probably not a big deal, but you know. Okay. So did one side, I'm going to do the other side. I'm going to try to fold the pleat so you can see it. So just fold it like that and then catch it with a pin. When I'm sewing them and I'm not doing a live, I don't even pin it a lot of times. So it is easier to sew if you pin it. I'm just lazy. So yeah. Sewing for theater stuff, I end up like improvising a lot because I'll be working on something completely out there and somebody will bring me something and I have to do it in a hurry. So I'm used to sewing zippers with a zipper foot, without a zipper foot, and you know, just stuff that I really shouldn't be doing a certain way. I'm doing it because out of necessity. So like I've learned to sew without pins a whole lot because I'm in a hurry. Like I'll have to sew stuff in like 10 seconds and like it works. It's just like I used to be very, very picky and particular, and I feel like theater sewing has kind of got me out of that because it's always generally about, oh, my elastic in my skirt is ripped out, and you know, fixing it within a minute. You know, like I have a minute to fix it. So, um, okay, there you go. Pleats are done. So what are we going to do next? We are going to put the side pieces on and not forget. That would be great. So these are my little side strips. They're about 5 inches long by an inch and a half wide. So perfect. So this has no, actually it does. It's not true. If you sew the wrong side of this fabric, it won't matter. But I know, but most people wouldn't know. It's like got like a waffle weave on the inside, and the outside is like this pretty, almost like ribbed cotton. It's so pretty. This is like my favorite. Um, they just call it cotton woven, but it's like they call it like a piqué, I think. And it's so nice to sew with this. It's really nice. Okay, so I'm going to sew the right side of the strip to the wrong side of my mask. And I'm still sewing a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Sometimes I do a 1/4 and sometimes I don't. I don't find it makes much of a difference. So I'm not going to trim that because I like to have that little bit of edge to fill in my bias. So I'm going to fold this like this. This is the right side. This is the wrong side. I'm going to take this and flip it up and fold it down. I'm making my own bias right now just by folding it. I'm not ironing it. I'm not pinning it. I'm just folding it. So, and then I'm going to fold it down again. So I folded it in half basically. Folded this edge over to meet the middle of the bias. And you're meeting the edge of your seam right here that I made, the edge of the mask, and then you're going to fold it over again. I feel like it's real hard for me to show in camera, but I hope it comes through. Okay, so like that. And then you want to sew along the edge of your bias. I always like to back stitch when I start, but this particular seam is going to be sewed over again, so you might not need to, but I say why not? Just back stitch. Back stitching is good. Nobody likes to make things that fall apart, so yeah. Okay, so, oh, this fabric's so nice. I love it so much. I might only be able to make one mask with it because I'm going to be sad that I won't have any left. Okay, so I'm going to whack off this side seam. This is just the extra of the bias, so you could be exact and cut it out exactly right. But I like to cut stuff off. I'm not a quilter. I know quilters like to do that, but I don't know. I just like it. Now my ends are nice and pretty. See, like it's perfect. So I like to make them a little bigger so that I can cut it off. There's a very popular bag pattern that people make that you cut off a lot of it and people don't like it, but I'm fine with it because it makes everything just perfect after you cut it off. So again, not cutting my seam off because look how nice this is. It fills in like I don't know. That's the heirloom sewing in me. It just makes it like a little padded seam. It's so nice. So fold this over. So first flip it out. Flip it out. Fold it over. Oh, I did it backwards. This is supposed to be the other side. It really doesn't matter, and I'm not going to undo it because nobody's going to care except for me. Literally nobody. Nobody's going to care. So I'm going to pull it over. You could. This is actually probably the better way to do it because you're not going to see the stitching on the other side. Anyway, it doesn't matter. You can do it either way. You can sew the bias right sides to the wrong side or the right side. It doesn't matter. It will be the same process. Hold on a second. Okay, so I'm going to see how it's long like that, and I'm just going to cut it off. You can cut it off at the exact same angle as the other part is. I just like it. Okay, so this way. See, you can't tell that I sewed one on the other way. Looks kind of cute, the green and the white. It's kind of scrub-like, scrub colors. Okay, so I am taking my, it's going to be about 55 inches now that I cut off my little side piece, and I'm going to fold it in half and clip it. And then I'm going to sew right side to the wrong side, and I'm just put the middle in the middle of the mask, and I start at this edge right here, and then I'm going to come finish this tail off at the end. Do it however makes sense to you, but this was the easiest for me. So back stitch, and that too, I'm not pinning anything. That too, like I've gotten away from doing that just out of speed. Okay. So okay. So now I'm going to fold this over like this, and fold it over again, and fold it again, and stitch on top of that. And sometimes if I have a smaller bias, I'll zigzag this edge to make sure I'm catching it, because if it's really tiny, then you've got to be precise with your straight stitch. If you zigzag, it's a little easier. Is my drink like right in the way? Kind of, huh? So when I get to the end, I should have backstitched on the corner and I didn't, but it's okay. I just keep folding the two ends. I could zoom in, but I don't think it matters. If you are watching right now and you didn't watch the first part, you can go back when I'm done and see. I zoomed in. But I'm not even sure if anyone's watching right now. It shows me someone's watching, but it could be my husband, so I don't know. So instead of moving the camera, I'm just gonna keep going. Just keep sewing. So, okay. Um, Okay, so oh, these ties are so nice because this fabric is so nice. Again, fabric finders. If anybody wants to know where to get fabric finders, I can link it to you. Oh, it's so nice. Okay. I feel bad for all my regular cotton woven ties. These are so nice. Okay. So now I just have this strip left and then the top. Oh, actually this is the bottom. The bottom tie will be done. So I'm going to flip it over and sew on the inside. I feel bad that you can't see. I'm going to zoom it in so you can see. Maybe I can actually just zoom in and not move the tripod. I'm just going to move the tripod. It'd be easier. So that's not bad. Not a big deal. Okay. Oh, I hear my dog. Okay. So I'm on the inside of the mask now because I flipped it over just so I can do this other end. I'm going to back stitch, even though I forgot, on the other side. Oh, and I left off that if you're not on the selvage, which I don't think I am for this one, you can just fold this edge in. I can't see because of my little picture in picture. I'll fix it. Okay. You can just fold this edge in at the bottom and then fold it in again. And you're just finishing the edge. That too, I learned bag making, straps. That's how I do the edge on my straps. When I make fabric straps, when I make cotton woven or canvas straps, I finish the edges like that. If I make vinyl, I don't worry about it. I just leave the raw edge. Okay. Oh, this strap. I wish you could feel it through the screen. It's so nice. Okay. I hope it doesn't feel bad. No, it feels great. Okay. I've just put it up against my head. I realize you can't see. Okay. It's a little thicker than cotton woven. Like I said, I think they just call it their cotton. I'm pretty sure it's called piqué. Be the name of the actual fabric, but I don't know 100%. That's why I don't have, one of my edges is on the selvage and one isn't because I cut off that little side piece of bias. Okay. So right side of bias to wrong side of mask. All this step is doing is attaching your bias to your mask. It's not like there's a lot of this you could probably not backstitch and use a bigger stitch and stuff like that. I'm just going for speed. Okay. Man. man, I sound like a broken record, but man, I miss sewing with this fabric. I used to make my daughter so many dresses out of fabric finders, and it is some nice stuff. It's you get what you pay for, I guess. It's probably about $20 a yard. It's so nice. Okay, so I'm folding up and down in half, and then once it's in half, you just fold it again. Okay. And again here, I'm just on the edge of my mask in that corner. If you start at the edge and it works out great for you, tell me, because I had trouble. I feel like if I was using my walking foot, I wouldn't have trouble, but I'm not. If I used my walking foot, I'd be even sadder that I'm not on my industrial walking foot machine. So again, I mentioned it earlier, but my industrial is for bag making. I can hem jeans and stuff on it. It's just for thick fabric or many layers of fabric. It's not for this. I can't even use this thread on my industrial. This is just regular weight thread that everybody uses. This is actually Coats and Clark. I usually don't use Coats and Clark, so this is actually polyester thread. I ran out of thread. I had to go get some from my mom's house. So this is probably polyester. It doesn't even tell you the weight on the thread. That's so weird. Thanks, Coats and Clark. But it's just regular weight sewing thread. I usually use Gutermann or Mettler thread. And I usually like to use all cotton. And on my industrial, I use bonded thread, which is really cool. It's pretty thick and it's like wrapped around the thread. It's like filaments little wrapped around the thread. It's polyester or nylon. I like both of them. Wonder if I can grab my rainbow thread to show you guys. I think it's right here. Maybe it's not. Is it right here? I just got this awesome rainbow thread in. I don't know where it's at. I'll show you this one though, just to show you. They come on these gigantic spools. Ooh, that did not make it happy. Okay, I hit my... They come on these gigantic spools. And this is Tech 70 thread, which is 69 weight. It is cool. Yeah, that's what I'll be using when I go live and do bag making. If you want to see that, subscribe and you can see when I do it. I just get lonely sewing sometimes, and I think it would be fun if I had some sewing friends to chat with while I'm sewing. And I love watching other people's lives, so. And we just upgraded our internet. You still can't see me. So we upgraded our internet, so I'm finally my upload speed is way better. I live in the swamp in Louisiana. We have one internet company, so our internet wasn't good enough for me to be able to go live before, and it is right now. So and I'm using an iPad as my camera, and I have another little webcam in the back. I'm using this really cool technology called NDI. Anyway, I'm excited, and I'm hoping that I can actually stream doing bag making because it's fun, and I think it would motivate me to sew more. So lately I have lost my, as some people say, their sojo. I don't know why. I just go through periods where I just don't feel like sewing. But I have this really nice industrial machine, so I want to use it. So, yep. Okay. So I'm getting there. I have one more strap to do. So I'm gonna flip it over. I'm gonna sew on the inside of my mask. So this way. Okay, so I'm gonna start in this corner again. I'm gonna back stitch. Like right here, it's not fitting perfectly, but it doesn't matter. Okay. And it's like once you get the hang of this bias technique, it's pretty fast. I made a mask in 30 minutes. I'm not sure how long I've been live here. Can I see? No, I can't see. But if I'm not chatting or anything, and usually I have them pre-cut, I can probably do about 20 minutes with this technique, which is way improved for me because when I did it, how the pattern called for it, it took me an hour. So, yeah. Okay. So aside from trimming the threads, I'm done with this mask. I have all the ties done. I'm actually going to try it on to show you because this one's a little different with the tie length being a little longer, and I used this different weight fabric for the ties, which I love, but I feel like before I give it to someone I should make sure it's good. And I'm gonna wash it before I give it to them. I just feel like I have to say that. Ooh, hang on, don't fall down. Ooh, you see my bundle of wires there. Sorry. Okay. There's my embroidery machine. That's my Melco. Okay, that should be good. Okay. Ooh, I feel like I have to take... Actually, I'm just going to mute my microphone. So you can kind of see the fit there. Hopefully you can still hear me. But this has a pretty good seal. I know it's hard for you to tell, but there's hardly no space around my eyes. It's because of how this pleat's made. There's no wires. This too is sealed up really good down here. It didn't take me long to put it on. I'm going to take it off now. It's fogging up my glasses, so that's kind of showing you it has a pretty good seal. I caught my hair in the mask. Oh no. Yeah, I'm not an elastic fan. I know some people would be like, "Oh, if you used elastic, you wouldn't have just caught your hair." I'm not a fan of elastic. I will maybe make some out of elastic upon request if anybody that I know wants some. So, yeah, there you go. I'm going to keep going because I need to make 4 of them. Really like that last one. That green one was nice. I I feel like I need another boy colored, neutral colored, I guess I should probably say. Yeah, I should probably just make another one just like that one, but that gets boring real fast to make the same thing over and over again. But, you know, it would be the fastest way to do it. I think maybe I'll just use a different solid color. What about this blue right here? I like this. I had this in my original. It's like a blue with like a crinkle. I think this was called like a it was supposed to look like granite or stone or something. I remember buying it. Obviously bought it and didn't use it because, you know, that's what we do. Okay, so I'm going to move my sewing machine. And I'm actually going to share this on my Facebook in case any of my non-sewing friends want to watch it. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna use this. Ooh, where did my template go? Here it is. I'm gonna adjust my camera again so you can see me cutting out. Okay. So okay. Here you go. Again, my fabric is pre-washed. this is my selvage. You're generally going to want to sew to cut it out like this. I mean, I'm folding my selvage over, lining it up. I have my good pen that I was looking for earlier, and it was right here. It was like right there. Okay. This is my Sew Whatever pen from Lauren at mormeknow.com. I don't think she has them anymore, but I have 2 of them and they're refillable and I'm so excited. Okay, so I feel terrible tracing this like this, but it's so much easier than a fabric pen. I'm cutting it off anyway, but it'll be okay. So, hey Sal! I want to know what you're making. I even told Jason about it. I was like, I don't know what she's making, but I want it. Okay, oh, I can't. I gotta move my face. Me too. I miss that so much, especially like right now. Like, yeah. I'm using my gaming headset. You could probably appreciate that. I bought a really nice gaming headset and I don't game that much anymore. Well, that's not true. I'm playing Animal Crossing right now on the Switch. It's so fun, but I need another Switch because my daughter loves it, and you can only have one island on a Switch, and she wants to play really differently than me. So I am cutting out my second piece. Oh, this pen's so nice compared to that other one I was using before. Yeah, it's really fun. I've never played Animal Crossing before, so it was new to me. And I really like it. It's fun. I like it because it's an MMO this time. You can go visit people and have people come visit you and stuff. It's pretty cool. And trade with people. I got a pink bed last night. I'm so excited about it. I was worried he was gonna like run away with it, but he gave it to me. It was so cool. Okay, so have my 2 pieces cut out. Debating if I'm going to use the same white ties I used for this mask or if I'm going to use the other fabric. I think I'm going to be nice and use my good white fabric because it's really nice. It was really fun sewing with it. That's hilarious. I haven't, so like, yeah, Hannah's playing all the time, so I haven't been able to like deep go into it, I guess, because I don't want to, because I want her to feel like the Switch is available for her to play whenever she wants. So I'm trying to not, but I feel like I'm about to get really into decorating my house because I've seen some really cool stuff. Like, there are so many items in the game, it is crazy. Like, but yeah, right now I have a house. It's a 1 room house. I have like a studio apartment. She has like a 3 bedroom house. She has a goth room. I think it's hilarious. But I don't think she even knows what goth is, but okay. But yeah. Um and Jason's playing. Minecraft, so since he's home. He actually thought about going play Galaxy's Emu. I don't know what stopped him, but he was going to, and he changed his mind. I think because he found a Minecraft server that he likes. I don't know how that works because I don't play Minecraft. Yes, he's home. He had been gone since really early, like around Christmas, so glad he's home. I need 2 of these strips. I'm making 2 60-inch, because my fabric is 60 inches wide, I'm making 2 60-inch strips that are 60 by 1.5 inches. And I'm just ripping them because I have fancy, expensive fabric that is now being, utility fabric. But, hey, fun times. Okay. And I'm going to cut about 5 inches off the end of each of my strips. That way they are the same size. Okay, I'm going to That's hilarious because I know that feeling and I can really imagine you doing that. I have to say I think the game that I decorated the most was Ultima Online. I went crazy decorating in that game. Like it was bad. And I did in Galaxies, but it wasn't as bad for me as UO. UO was bad. Okay, let's see. I can figure out how to get this back to where you can kind of see what I'm doing. This is my embroidery machine. She's a big boy. Okay. Maybe like that. I'm gonna try it. Okay. That's kind of okay. Yeah. UO was kind of like Galaxies though because you used other items that weren't meant for decorating whatever, like to make other stuff. Because I remember taking like yarn and making it into different like furniture items and stuff. So yeah. Whereas like now, like in Animal Crossing, you can get like, I don't know, like probably like 30 different kinds of beds. Like they just have that. You have to wait until you can get it though. So I guess that makes you like have something to strive for. I don't know. I'm gonna sew a 1/2 inch seam all the way around, and I have my fabric wrong side to right side. That way there's a right side of the mask and a wrong side of the mask. UO is the game that I met Jason in, so it's near and dear to my heart. Galaxies is second near and dear to my heart. Galaxies is the first, yeah, Galaxies is the first MMO I really got into though, like the original one, so. Jason has a Discord server. Just saying, you ever want to hang out with us and talk while you're crafting? Ooh, my tension's messed up. No. I'm gonna have to rethread my machine after this. Something is not right. I'm gonna... Oh, cool. I told Jason you were in here to see if he'll come talk. But yeah, I played Elder Scrolls for a long time. I understand that one. I think about going back every now and then I'm like, I don't want to. It's too grindy. I don't know. Just depends. Like you said, he plays with friends. If you have somebody to play with, it's probably really fun. But yeah, I feel like Animal Crossing is gonna be the thing to do. But yeah, Jason, I'm sure Jason will invite you to his Discord server. I don't think he's actually like using it with people he's playing with right now. I think he just has it up, and people use different rooms for different stuff. Cause he has a server, cause he's always got to have a server. So. Nerdy things. I'm hoping to, right now I'm just cutting off my seam allowance, cutting it from 1/2 inch to 1/4 of an inch. I'm hoping to stream on my bag sewing machine. So that I'm just kind of practicing right now because really all I'm sewing is masks because people need masks and want masks. So, which is cool to feel like I can help. And I'm rethreading my machine. Wish I could figure out how to get this light right here, not to just wash everything out completely. I need to figure it out. It won't be like that on my bag sewing machine though. Okay. I think I'm just gonna assume that the tension is fixed. Actually, I'm just gonna redo my bobbin. Oh, my bobbin thread's almost out. Not today, bobbin. Not today. I'm going to wind a new bobbin. I feel like I should show winding the bobbin. I like winding bobbins. I think it's fun. So, yeah. That's funny. Well, I don't know what kind of crafts you're doing, but I'm sure whatever it is, if it's especially if it's like computer artwork, it would be, yeah, like I still struggle with computer artwork. I always end up having to do it for certain stuff, and I'm like, it takes me like 10 hours to do something that should probably take 5 minutes. It's terrible. That's, yeah, I guess that's how it is with any thing you kind of pick up and that you're not familiar with. Because I feel like sewing is so easy. Oh, could I use it as a pattern weight? I want that. I haven't seen. See, if you posted that, I didn't see it. I don't know if you're selling it on Facebook. I hate how Facebook does that. I wanted Hannah to make me some pattern weights with polymer clay. I love that it smells like blueberries though. That's so cool. Okay. I think, should I zoom out more? I don't know. I'm gonna zoom out a little bit more. Okay. It's so hard to get this just right. I think if I flipped the iPad over, it would have been right, but I don't think I can do that now. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna make. Oh, okay. That's cool. Is it just like a little, like just like decorative to have, or is it like? Because I totally feel like you can make them and sell them as pattern weights. That's like literally a thing. I can send you like a link to what I'm talking about. I didn't make this dart big enough, so now I'm making the nose darts. Oh, okay. Um, the only thing with the pattern weights, I think people are putting like stitch markers. I haven't knitted in a long time. People are putting like washers in them to make them have some weight to them. Okay, cool. Yeah, one of the fabric groups I'm in had like a craft along where they made pattern weights and they made them out of polymer clay, and I just thought it was so not like really heavy, but I think I think just regular polymer clay. I guess it depends how big they are. Yeah, I don't have no idea how big you're working with, but um yeah. 'Cause no, it doesn't have to be really heavy, just heavy enough to where it would hold down a piece of paper on some fabric. Like that's the whole point, like so the paper doesn't fly away. Sure. This is um this is the nose pleat, and the bottom I just made one pleat on the inside, and this is in the pattern. The nose pleat I do exactly like the pattern that I linked in the description. And the bottom, this is the chin pleats. So all I did was I marked the center. I folded in half like this and marked the center. And then, yes, you can use kind of like bean bags for that too. I'm marking the center and then I'm folding it over, right sides together. And, oh, this is kind of in the way. Let me move this. Oh, I'm going to put it over here. Okay. And this is like, so I'm folding it over like this, and I'm just going to mark like a triangle like this to mark my darts. You can make the darts exactly how she made it in the pattern, but I changed it because I noticed in the comments she said that she thought it would be better with 2 darts, so I made it to 2 darts. Yeah, Yeah, I think having some weight to it's good, but I'm not sure how. I don't think polymer clay is very heavy. I don't think I have any. I don't know. Hannah likes to draw, so she's really into like iPad drawing, so anything other than that, she's not like super interested in doing. I'm trying to get her to do other stuff, and she's like, "Well, I just want to draw on my iPad." So, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So now I'm sewing my two darts, and I'm just folding it. I didn't draw the full dart. I drew just half a little line because I'm gonna fold it on that other half, so I don't need it to be drawn. But you can draw it if you want to. I love that they smell like blueberries, though. That's so fun. I want to know how they smell like blueberries, but I don't want you to give away your secrets. Is there a blueberry inside of each one? Because that would be really cool. Okay, so now these are my two darts for the chin, and I'm going to just cut off this excess. You could not cut it off if you want to, up to you. I'm just cutting it to about 1/4 of an inch in the seam allowance. Well, that's good because I feel bad that I don't like force her to draw on paper, so I don't know. I probably will at some point. I'll be like, "Here, draw on this paper. It's good for you." Because she used to always draw on paper, and now that she's got the iPad Pro, she does not want anything to do with the paper. She just don't want to. Um, it saves a lot of money drawing on the iPad. Oh, scented oil. That's cool. I love blueberries, so I think that's awesome. Yeah, pattern weights are super popular. But instead of like buying them, I was like, oh, maybe I can make some, but I'll never make them, so I'll buy them from you. Oh, cool. That's good to know, because me and Jason were both kind of like, do we need to make her to draw on the paper? She uses Procreate, and man, she just loves Procreate. I've tried to get her to draw in Photoshop, and she's like, Photoshop is not as good as Procreate. And I'm like, okay, but I think Photoshop is probably better. I don't know. I don't think the quality and size comes out as good in Procreate, but it's really cool. If she didn't play with it all the time, I'd want to play with it. Okay, so I just made my pleats. I'll go over on the other one when I do it how I did the pleats. I just kind of was talking and didn't pay attention. But I'd have 3 pleats and they're going down right here. So this is my nose pleat, and I'm going to fold it like this. I'm taking about a 1/2 inch, maybe a little bit less than a 1/2 inch of a pleat there. It's just kind of hard to show that. I feel like I need one camera that goes like right here on the top. But, you know, money. Yeah, she's like really into the art stuff. She just started how many of these have I made so far? So, mm, about 30? So not that many. I especially like Jason came home, so I really like slowed down. But it takes me a long time to make them because I'm making the string part that you tie it with instead of using elastic. Well, you say wow, but like I know people that have made like 300, so I feel really like I'm not doing very much. But I know it all matters, so. I'm not a big elastic fan, even though I'm like, well, maybe I should just get over myself and use elastic, but I'll probably make some with elastic because I'm making these for my friend right now, and um, one's for her husband, one's for her son, and they might like the elastic better than tying it. Okay, so I have the 3 pleats. The pattern actually shows um, how to make the pleats, but it's hard to show on camera. But I have 3 pleats on both sides, and this is basically like how the shape of the mask is going to be. And I don't iron them, I just hold it in place and pin it. And now I'm going to show how to do the bias. Yes, basically, yes. Before you came in here, I was saying it, that's how you would make a tiny little seam exactly and not pin it. Because I don't pin it, and like I could never do that. I tried and tried, and I couldn't get it. And I don't know, like it just clicked all of a sudden doing this. And I think it's easier because it's a little bit bigger. So, but my mom always made those tiny little hems, like just folding it over as you go. And I was like, how do you do that? Can you just do it for me? Because I can't do that. So, and she used to. So, so it's kind of cool. I figured that out. Kind of out of necessity because it was taking me an hour to make one mask after I had cut it out. And I was like, no, this is stupid. And I feel like that's why a lot of people use elastic because it's so much faster. But I'm such an elastic hater. I really am. I just don't like it. Okay, I'm just realizing I didn't say how I did this. I will explain in my next one, but there you go. I'm going to show the folding part. All I did was I sewed the bias to the mask, and you can do it the right side or the wrong side. I usually do the wrong side, but this one I did the right side. Then you flip it up and fold it like this in half, and then fold it over again, and you're just encasing your seam in this little fabric strip that you made. And when I make the longer tie is more when I'm doing like the little, more of the folding. It's the same thing, but it's easier on the little shorter piece. Because before I was making my bias first, and then I was just folding it over and sewing it to this, and I was like, if I do that in one step, that will save so much time, and it does. It cut my time more than in half, which is crazy in sewing. Like that's a lot. Okay, so this is how it looks. The pleat, the one pleat is for the nose. I have 2 pleats on mine at the bottom because I changed the pattern. The one pleat at the top is bigger anyway, but this is how the little side looks. So I'm going to do the same thing to this side. So I'm going to take my bias strip and I'm going to put it right sides together because that's how I did the last one. Usually I do right side bias to wrong side mask, but yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So I'm not trimming my seam allowance. And all I did was I sewed it a 1/2 inch seam allowance, and then I'm going to take this, flip it up, and then fold it in half to where this long edge meets this seam, and then you flip it over again. It's so cool. This is how you sew regular bias, but the part where I'm gonna like roll it and stuff is when I'm gonna sew the big tie, the long ties. Okay, and then I made my ties on the side bigger than what this side is, so I always say I whack it off. I just cut it off like that. And I let it fall to the floor. And will I pick it up? In a few days, probably. Yeah. Okay, so, ooh, where are my strips? Oh no, I lost my strips. Oh, here they are. Maybe? Yeah. Okay, so again, my ties are probably like 55 inches long each. Only because I use 60-inch wide fabric. If I had 45-inch wide fabric, they would be 45 inches because I have found that it is long enough. So I have not had anyone tell me that it wasn't long enough. Yeah, I'm super messy, and my husband was like, I'm sure if you stream, you're going to tell them, yeah, I'm sorry, my room's messy. It's not usually like this. And I'm like, no, I'm going to tell them that it usually is like this. And everybody that knows me knows that's probably accurate. And I have been cleaning it up. It's pretty clean to me, but to him it's not. Okay, so now I'm taking this 55-inch piece strip, and I folded it together and I snipped my two pieces just so I knew where my middle is. You can mark it with a pin. I am putting right sides together, and I'm putting it in the middle of my mask. And I'm going to go to the edge of the mask. Again, you could pin it if you want to. You could use these pretty clips that my friend Lauren sells at moremeknow.com. They're that anodized metal. It's so pretty. They're rainbow metal. I love them. Let's just use them because they're pretty. Where are the ones that I opened already? Oh, they're right here. So these are like hair clips, and you can use them. That's how mine was until I just recently had all this time in the world to clean it. So I've been working on cleaning it for a while, but I don't know. I think it's pretty good right now. But the counter is like, well, it was cleaned off till I started picking up fabric. Okay. That's why I have my own space, I guess. Okay. So look how pretty these clips are. So pretty. I love them so much. Yeah. I understand. Now I have something to do with all this fabric. Like there's so much fabric I have that I'll probably never use. That's why my husband was like, you need to buy fabric. And I'm like, no, that's hilarious. I don't need to buy fabric. Okay. So I'm sewing again, 1/2 inch. You could sew 1/4 inch here too if you want to. In the end, it's not going to change much the size of the mask. So, oh, these pins are so pretty. I love these. They're not pins, they're clips. They're so pretty. I think I have, yeah, I have 40 of them. No. Yeah, I think I have 40 of them and I don't have enough. You have pink walls? Wait. Oh, I have pink walls. Yeah. Yeah, I have pink walls. It's my dream come true. It was great when we built this and told the carpenter like that I was gonna have it pink. He's like, He basically was saying, you know, I was going to regret it. And I'm like, no, I will never regret having pink walls. My only regret is like right after I did this, they started coming out with the glitter like that you can put on the walls, and I was like, oh man. Even though I don't know that the glitter would look good. I find sometimes glitters like the glitter might not have been pink, and then I wouldn't have been happy. So okay, um, I just have this sewed right sides together, and I'm gonna flip it over, the same thing as the other side in half. Aw, Melissa Zell, Melissa Zell. Melissa, my husband says hello. He texted me. He said, "Aw." Okay. Um, so I'm folding it over. It's like this. Fold it over and flip it over again. And it's just covering that seam. And I'm going to start sewing in this corner right here. I'm glad you can still see that my walls are pink. He will, for sure. Okay, I will. So I just fold it as I go and hold it over this seam. I think he has like a paid Discord server. I don't know. I really don't know because I don't use it. So when I get to this end right here, which you can't really see, I could zoom in if anybody needs to see. I could zoom in. Um, see if I can do that. Feel like I need 5 cameras for sure. Bernina. Okay, so still can't see that well because of that light, and I can't turn it off, so I'm sorry. I even tried other lights. So I was like, maybe more light will be better, but nope, more light is worse. Okay, so this is the part where I've gotten past the mask itself. I'm just on the tie. So I'm just taking it and I'm folding it and just kind of like, yeah, rolling it over and pressing it with my fingers and just sewing. And I can do it really fast if I'm not talking, but who wants to do that? That's boring. Okay, so I just keep going, folding these 2 edges over. And yes, you could sit there and iron it if you want to. I hate ironing and it takes so much more time. I'm just kind of folding it as I go. Just kind of fix it as you go. And you're sewing along that new edge that you're creating where you're folding over the ties. And this side, I don't have to fold over the very end of my edge because it's on the selvage, and the selvage is a finished edge. It will not ravel. So I know, I guess if you want it to be more professional, you could fold over both edges, but I'm just going for speed. Okay, so now you have the mask. I always go the wrong way. Okay, So you have this one, only this one edge finished. So now I have to sew this edge, and the reason I didn't start on that edge is the machine doesn't like that. It's going to want to eat it. So, and it's just easier to do this part first. If you don't want to, don't do it that way, but trust me, it's easier if you start on the mask part and not on the tie part. So now, in order to keep doing that, like to just sew from the mask part, I'm going to sew on the corner of the mask. And I feel like it's good to have some reinforcement there anyway. So I'm doing the same thing. I'm just folding both. It's just really hard to show. Folding both sides in and then in again. And it makes a bias. It makes the bias, same bias that you buy in the store. Except it's nicer because it's out of $20 a yard fabric. Okay, so this end I am going to fold up at the end, and after up I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to fold this side halfway in, this side halfway in, and back together. It's basically just finishing that in because that is a raw edge and we don't want no raw edges. That was bad English. Sorry, I just thought it was funny. Okay, so we just don't do raw edges here. So, okay. Okay, so now you have one whole bias done. This is the bottom, so it's like this. So I need to do that same thing again to the top, and then you'll be done. Then there's only one more to go. One more mask, because I needed to make 4 masks, and I have made almost 3. Yay! So glad I got to visit with you. Because, yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I love to sew, and I like to sew and watch TV, and like, I feel like I've watched all the TV in the world. That's why I like to go sew at my friend's house, because she'll keep me company while I sew. Because I bring this machine everywhere with me. Okay, so now I'm gonna sew strip. I still haven't watched that. People keep telling me that. What is it on? I need to add it to my list. Is it a Netflix thing? Or what is it? Fancy sewing pins again. Yay. Look how pretty. They're so pretty. Wait. So pretty. Oh, on YouTube. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I like to watch TV, and so I can get some stuff done when I do that. Yeah, that finish is so pretty and it's so expensive. It makes everything more expensive when it has that finish. But I have like purse hardware in that finish and it's so pretty. I made my daughter a bag with the rainbow hardware and it is beautiful. I'm getting ready to make me a Nintendo bag with I don't know. I can't decide if I'm going to use rainbow hardware or rose gold or gold because Mario. So I have all of it just, sitting here waiting for me to decide. I'm very indecisive when it comes, especially when it comes to making something for myself. It's the worst. Okay, so I have this sewed. I'm flipping it out, and then I'm gonna take it, fold it in half, and just fold it over, or like she said, roll it over. And it makes like a little fabric burrito. It's so cute. Okay, so I start in the edge corner of the mask. Ooh, my machine's about to be angry. Yep, I knew it. It made like a little knot and it caught the thread and it broke the thread. So now I have to rethread it. Oh, yeah. I had a logo done a while for my embroidery digitizing stuff and I really was not happy with it. And I paid, money for it and I don't know, like when I wanted to change it, the guy was pretty much like, "No." So I just kind of kept it and I've been thinking of redoing it and Hannah kind of made it sound like she was going to do it. And my daughter, in case anybody that's watching doesn't know, my daughter's Hannah. But I don't know. I don't think she really wants to. So, I don't know. But yeah, if I don't know, I feel like I'm much